Now, the government of the Turks and Caicos Islands, at its cabinet meeting held on February 22, 2023, approved the National Housing Policy. This policy seeks to offer safe and affordable housing that is a basic necessity for every family. By extension, the Turks and Caicos Islands government will be able to provide better access to adequate shelter, affordable accommodation, and housing options throughout the Turks and Caicos Islands.
The reason this policy is important is because, as many people know and are experiencing firsthand, we are in a housing crisis for several reasons. The country is growing. There's a significant business in the short-term rental market. A lot of persons have moved their long-term rental units out of that market to go after the Airbnb space, which is very profitable, beyond the growing industries throughout the country. So we have a significant shortage of housing. This policy sets up the various programs to try and address those issues, not only in the short term, but in the long term, because the data that we collected suggested that we need to put on the market at least 600 housing units for the next decade, each year for the next decade. So that would include apartments, that would include townhouses, that would include standalone houses, as well as condos, whatever long-term living arrangements that you would have.
The National Housing Policy includes various programs and initiatives that will address the housing needs in the Turks and Caicos Islands under 4 categories. These are social and equitable housing, first-time homeowners, existing homeowners, and community renewal programs. The approval of this policy outlines the various programs that the department will be implementing in 3 phases: a short-term phase, 6 months to a year; medium-term, 1 to 3 years; and long-term, 3 to 5 years.
So you will have your date for the rehabilitation of homes program. We'll give you your application date and go into the details about the criteria that will be administered, so you can make an application, and potentially you can get up to $50,000 worth of assistance to refurbish your home to make sure it is in a livable state. So that is targeting the most vulnerable amongst us first and foremost. Then you have the community renewal and infilling program, where we are looking to identify and build homes for the most vulnerable amongst us. And for those 2 programs just outlined, we have $2.5 million in the capital budget for that specifically. And the last program, which is the most important program, 2 key things that you'll get to think about and take away. The persons who are entrepreneurs and who are wanting to get in the housing space on a smaller scale, once you're building at least 5 housing units or more, you'll be able to apply for up to 100% duty-free concessions, amongst other things. So that means if you're building an apartment complex that has at least 5 units, you will be able to apply for up to 100% duty-free exemptions. That's unheard of. And then if you are a large-scale developer and you also want to build homes, build townhomes, if you want to build it on crown land or private land, those same exemptions would apply to you, in addition to potential immigration protocols, duty-free on equipment to be brought in to be able to mobilize. Because again, we have 600 units we need to get on the market.
The department's official launch of the housing policy under the Ministry of Physical Planning and Infrastructure Development will be held on Thursday, July 27th at 6 p.m. at Brayton Hall.